Good afternoon, everybody.
Howdy.
Welcome to our
Hey,
first, hey, welcome. So we haven't done this in a while. I'm excited to do this again with you guys. Such an awesome crowd here. And thanks for joining, and thank you all the attendees that are out there that are taking time out of your busy day to try to get better in real estate. This is our first webinar of the Lightning Network Mastermind Series that we're coming up with. So we're doing three webinars, one today, one September, and one in November. Then we're having a main event in December where we're going to actually be at the end for like the grand finale in person at Emily Arena for a Lightning game or match and an in-person networking event, food and everything. So it's gonna be a great time. And if to be eligible for that, you just have to make all three of our webinars. So this is gonna be great. So the first one starting off today, we're going to do how to scale your business from one deal to five per month as a real estate agent. Some of people are actually, I mean, I should really say 0 to 3 would be a win. 0 to 5 is just getting you to that next level. So you're having consistent business. And we have some fantastic panelists with us that are top producers that have been doing this for a very, very long time and doing it each and every year. I always say how impressive it is when I talk to people, how we've had people come in and do it for a year, like that flash in the pan, which is awesome, but to do it every single year consistently, produce at a high level where you're doing more than $10 million a year in annual production, 10 to 20 plus, 40, 50 units. That's just amazing to do consistently because everyone's facing challenges in these markets. So kudos to you guys and thanks for joining us. Um, let's start. First and foremost, Jordan Vreeland, visionary and founder of Vreeland Real Estate. How are you, sir?
Good, Jason. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for joining us again.
You're welcome.
How did we get here, Jordan? How did you come up with a model where we were able to take, because I've seen it time and time again where people just kind of come in and they're doing like 4 or 5 deals in their career. Then all of a sudden, it takes a little time sometimes, right? But they're doing two, three, four, five a month with more on deck pending.
A lot of this is breaking it down to personal. So we really don't talk about business. And how many deals you have? What are the leads? First questions that I ask everybody is going to be, what's the hardest thing you've overcome? And then the second thing is, what time do you wake up? What time do you go to sleep? That's what I want to know off the rip.
That says a lot. Amen. Well, I can't wait to start digging into this stuff. All right, our broker of real and real estate, Scott McEnany. How are you, sir? A top producer.
Yes, sir. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Awesome, man. Scott, do you mind just sharing your quick background and maybe just a blurb on how you've created consistency in your business?
Yes, well, I was working with investors, one investor specifically, doing a couple hundred transactions a year. And then COVID came around and put everything on pause. And then I was looking to start back up. And so I've been thinking about this meeting and the topics. And, you were saying 0 to 3, 1 to 5. I was at zero. I'd never worked with a buyer. Right? I had an investor, plenty of cash deals, but I always thought, oh shit, how am I going to talk them out of the blue roof? I mean, the blue room, the color. I had never done that before. And so when I arrived here, I made the decision to buy in 100% because had nothing to measure anything. I was like, how can I judge? So what I'm going to
I
do
like
is
it.
just going to believe and I'm going to jump in and I'm going to do what I'm told and I'm going to work hard, study, learn on my own. And that's gotten to me to where I am now.
Awesome. Well, fantastic. Again, I can't wait to hear more from you as well. All right, Miss Amber Brown, another top producer, consistent killer. What have
I
you
like the
done, man?
nickname.
I know, just they just flow like that sometimes. But in regards with you, like how did you, get to where you're at now? What's helped you scale? Quick blurb, and again, we're gonna go deeper shortly here, but
I don't, so I'm here because I don't have a plan B. This has to work.
that'll
And I
get you
know
to
I speak
scale.
for, yeah, but this is just raw and being as transparent as possible. I don't have a real estate background prior to this. So this was all me coming in as a blank canvas. So anybody can do it.
you went
I'm
into
working
a new
amongst agents
field,
that have twice the amount of experience as me.
right?
So it's all, if you put in the work, you will get the results, period. Any day of the week. I bet you my bottom dollar. But yeah, I was corporate. I got laid off. And this is why I'm here. I did not once get laid off again. It's not a good feeling. So I bet on myself. And Jordan bet on me
Oh,
too. And
that's
Scott.
you went into a new industry and
Yes.
with no plan B.
Nope.
That's
And that never
savage.
changed.
Holy cow. Look at you now, though. Look at you now. That's
Right.
amazing. But that's, Jordan mentioned the mindset and the power of self, and that's awesome stuff. So we're gonna have some nuggets for the room, for the attendees, I should say. Well, awesome stuff. Well, without further ado, let's just get started. Pillar number one. So we're gonna go over 4 pillars to scale your business. Okay. So the number one, I think we all can agree about is daily prospecting routines. How important is it to daily prospect, and it's like it's funny because I talk to so many people in my capacity with that are coming on and are most of them are just trying to get to that next level. That's why they're thinking about making a move or looking for a new opportunity. And there's been a couple we've talked to, some of our top performers, like I'll never forget Chris, he's in the Tampa market. One of the first things he said to me was, he just wasn't where he wanted to be, but he's like, listen, I prospect every morning. Like he had this routine all laid out already. I'm like, God darn it. Some people aren't even there yet. And I'm like, if you could do what you're doing now in a model like ours, it's going to be awesome. And he's already done 20 something units for this year already. So it's really amazing to see it all come to fruition, knowing when you have 2 people meet and find, you could serve each other in a sense, right? But let's just start, it's kind of really want the panel just to share why structuring structuring your day where you prospect every day is important. Like, who are you calling? What's maybe, I don't even really go scripting, but tools that you use, being consistent even when you're busy. Because, I always say too, it's like, how is it? And we've all talked about this, that some of our least productive people or teammates that don't have a lot of business going are so busy they can't find time to prospect to get your business to where you want it to be, where you guys have the least amount of time but always make it a priority to prospect. So again, just kind of really touching on that. So let's just start off with Scott, one thing you do without fail every single day. I guess we already gave the answer to the test with the prospecting, but maybe elaborate on that.
Right. Well, for me, my goal is to touch every one of my clients every day, at least once. That's call, text, or email. And what helps me, and I'll get back to the opening slide, is our proven systems. We have the systems in place that allow you to manage that daily prospecting. And if it weren't for those systems, I may be reaching out to 20% of my clients. But the support I get, the notifications I get, we have the elite systems here. We are a premier brokerage with Zillow. Our lead buy is some of the highest in the state. And so I would say the systems help me. And all I have to do is just follow up. And like I said, follow the path. The system's guiding me every day. So the way I do it, I log on.
It's funny because I think that we're going to find a theme that a lot of this stuff isn't rocket science, right? It's
Right.
coming down to some simple stuff that anybody could
That's it.
do.
That's
It
it.
doesn't have to be Zillow leads. It doesn't have to be, it could be Facebook leads. It could be your sphere. It could be anything, but it starts with logging on. Jordan
Absolutely.
does that a lot. Well, good stuff, man. Thank you. How about you, Amber? What's one thing without fail you're going to get done every single day?
When it comes to prospecting, I make sure I start my day with new business. So, I mean, in my pipeline, I have clients that are, under contract, but I don't let them, suck the first hour, 2 hours of the day. I make sure that that is for new business. Like, not the inspection, not the appraisal shortage. All those things will be headaches in 2 hours, but I owe it to my business to ensure that I start the day with connecting with somebody who doesn't, know who Amber is or hasn't had that connection with me. So that's how I do it. And then to piggyback off of Scott's point, the systems, sophisticated. I am not tech savvy. I mean, AI makes me look like the biggest superhero on the planet. So it is allowing me to, when I do prospect, I'm talking to the right people. It's not really cold calling because you can look at their behaviors. So it eliminates that. So you're able to convert at a higher, level. So that's what I do.
You guys are bringing nuggets already. I love it. Good stuff. And I think a powerful one too. And it took me a while to figure this out, and it really, but when it's so simple again too, it's just the power of prospecting early and doing it first before Jordan talks about this at length, before you have a bad call with a client or an inspector or something's going wrong, you're trying to put out a fire first. That can negatively impact the rest of your day. So when you get a good client on the phone, it's a future potential business, right? You're not in the right state of mind because you just had a really sour call. Not that every sales call is positive, but it just really does set the tone for your day differently. I dig that out loud. Very good stuff. Jordan, you've obviously helped put a lot of this stuff in place. What's one thing you do, sir, without fail every single day to get to a certain level that you're at?
Uh, I still believe in getting up and doing the hard thing. So getting your mind and your body going could be, I'm on a hot yoga kick now, but it could be cold plunge, it could be hot yoga, it could be breathing exercises, but it's got to be something that puts you to the test mentally and physically. If you can get that done first, coffee, Celsius, cold brew, kids at school, whatever it is, 8 o'clock game time. And you got to do that every day. You do it every day, it works. But at the end of the day, I fought this for a long time, is you got to shut it down. So 10:30 at night, shut it down. Doesn't matter what's happening because you won't be able to do it tomorrow and wake up at 4:30 if you don't shut it down at night.
One temperature extreme to the next. You went from the cold plunge to the hot yoga, man. That's savage too, but I really, and that made a lot of sense too when you finally drilled that into my head. If you can just knock out the hardest part of your day first, which is usually just getting up and starting to move into like a workout of some sort, it doesn't be Johnny Gym rat, right? Any sort of a walk, meditation, just get going, get your mind flowing. And if you could do something very challenging in the morning, especially, the rest of the day is pretty easy, even when you do have those hard calls or those tough conversations. Like that's breathe. I just dipped in 30-degree water, which I haven't done that part yet. So I'm not going to act like I have, but I get the whole premise behind it. And if you can get the blood moving and get a workout in, I always say to this too. No, some people love just going every day, but if you're one of the people that you're trying to get to that point where you can do some sort of exercise every morning and it's tough and it's challenging, you don't want to do it. But there's never been a single time in life, and I think most people can attest to this, where after you worked out, you felt worse. Like no one's went to the gym or went for a walk or just did something physical, even light activity, and said, "Man, I really feel bad now." You always feel better without fail. And I think that's very powerful. If you can start your day with that. I know it's worked miracles for me. Lord knows I have a long way to go, but I've also came a long way, right? So I can say it works for sure. And if you look at any top performer, whether it's athletics, real estate, any business, they have a common theme. They get up and do something every morning, right? And get that stuff knocked out. So great stuff so far. Any other final thoughts on daily prospecting? Like, guys, let's ask, how do you find the time though with your schedules? Let's kind of bring that in the fold because I think some people struggle with just, I'm too busy.
To jump in because I think I struggled with this the most. I'm a control freak naturally. But, everything that you have to do, you have to make sure I mean, obviously, when you want to scale, you have to focus on money-making activities. So there are a lot of things that we do in our business that are not necessarily money-making activities, like whether or not I put the sign out in the yard or put the lockbox on the door, you have to figure out which, tasks are important. So focus on highest and best use of time and money making activities. If you do those two, and sort them out that way, you know exactly what you need to delegate in order to elevate. So yeah, that
Awesome.
is
Well,
what
that
I would
that actually
say.
leads directly into our next pillar. So pillar number two, time blocking and owning your calendar and how vital that is. So important. So you're hitting it, right? I mean, again, it's amazing how the people that have the least amount of time are the most productive with getting things done, and the people that really aren't doing anything productive never have the time to do anything. But it's just they're not taking control of their day, right? Scott, what are your thoughts on that? Like, how do you avoid like being reactive?
Well, because I'm in control. And, time blocking, you can be misled by that. I can't schedule to do the same task from 8 to 9 every day and expect to be successful, right? And I'm going to take this back to our systems because I'm big on systems. You know, with the systems we have, we can see when our clients are most active. So if I'm time blocking based on me, I'm not hitting when my clients are available and active, right? So certainly during the day, I have times when I'm focused on certain tasks and reaching out to clients and sending email blasts, texting, casting the net, like we like to say. But also, I'm constantly searching for client behavior and I'm responding to that behavior.
I like the control part, because I think it's important. Like I was going to ask, my next question to Amber was going to be like, how do you protect your time to prospect and to focus on new business with having so many systems in place and other things to do, but that control piece is powerful and it's not always easy to control, right?
Right.
Amber, do you want to elaborate a little bit more on how you protect your time?
So, and to piggyback off of Scott's point, and he's absolutely correct. I mean, if I'm prospecting and I have a really good call from 8 to 9 o'clock, for 45 minutes, but I did get a new client, that's still a win, right? That's still a win. That's a person or a client that I did not connect with prior to. So, to that point, I think time blocking, as long as it is, again, highest, best use of time, then I count my small victories, no matter, I may not have gotten through, because a goal of mine during time blocking is also like putting small goals in, right? I think that is it. Like you time block to achieve something. Duh, right? We all do that. So, if I'm calling from 8 to 9 and my goal is from 8 to 9, make 50 calls, okay, great. But if I had one win, is that really, not me not meeting a metric? So I think just being laser focused on why you're time blocking, you'll be able to manipulate and move around, based on how your day is going. But I am laser focused on my time blocking. Like I will be and on an impromptu call with Jordan or whoever it is. Hey, I gotta go. I got my next, my meeting. And you have to do the same simple things every day. Get in a routine. And that way, when you do have something that is out of your time blocking, you know how to adjust accordingly or find that time somewhere else. So I do the same things every day. My time blocking is robotic as much as it can be. But again, I make adjustments based on my wins throughout the day. So I hope I'm answering your question.
No, you were, and it sounds like you have to say no once in a while, right?
Oh,
To be able,
100%.
and I think that's not always easy for some people to do. They try to be the yes person to everything. It just
Yeah,
gets them in
but you
such a,
can't. And your
you
clients will
can't.
appreciate that. Your
I
clients
agree.
appreciate you being busy and delivering every day. Like, hey, so I have time on my calendar tomorrow at 2 p.m. And sometimes that's better because you're going to give them a valuable piece of you instead of rushing through something because you're trying to just fit it in. No, you want them to get that same product that you would if it was on your calendar. So sometimes it's just like, hey, tomorrow, 2 p.m., I can get you in. It's organization, you sound better, you look better, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes saying, it's not no, it's not right now. Let's do it tomorrow.
Big difference.
Huge difference.
Got it. And on the organization piece, it's Jordan, again, you've put this in my ear, how unstructured and or unorganized it really is out there, especially in this industry. A lot of times, like people just have no idea what to do and when to do it. They might have some basic ideas, but like if you're not organized and structured in your day, it can really be an uphill battle you're facing. Scott, were you going to add something, my friend?
Yeah, kind of leaned in. That's my
Yeah,
fault, isn't
that's
it?
what I'm saying. I see you coming,
Yeah,
man. Bring
right.
it.
And I think also when you do time block, when you are communicating with clients, you the message you're sending because you have the time, right? You're not rushed. It isn't you're just running through a list. I've dedicated time for this. Whatever my task is, I have this time for you. And like Amber was saying,
Huge.
that's why I don't rush out of here cutting my marketing time in half to go meet with a client because I've done a disservice to myself in my marketing. And also I'm doing a disservice to the client because I'm not really mentally prepared. And a lot of times I don't have all the information for that meeting that I may rush to.
That's powerful, man. People and agents can be so scattered with their time and just jump in so reactive instead of being proactive, right? They're letting the day run them. And That's huge, man, because you're right. It is a disservice because when you're rushed and you're rushing through it, you're not doing your client a favor. But when you're 100% present in front of them and really bringing some value, which most agents aren't, that's money, man. It's great stuff.
Yeah, and you're not
Jordan,
distracted in conversation.
yeah, no, you're all in. And that's people feel that, man. They smell that a mile away from you if you're actually giving a heck or not. And if you're present, they know you are, you know. Jordan, I have to ask, any pro tips that you can provide in this regard, or any systems or that you use for help with time auditing your day?
Well, Jason, I still haven't gotten over the fact that I called you and you said you can't take the call right now because you were time blocking.
Oh my God, here's my calendar. You guys are crazy.
Yeah. So what I could say is I think all three of you have done a really good job. And I had to learn this too, is like you gotta be
Right.
consistent because any bomb can go off at any time and you're gonna take an hour to fix it. Client appraisal, inspection, something's gonna happen during the day that you don't know about. But I think all three of you did a really good job of like staying consistent on that. Where I've called you and like, or now I have to check your schedule, like, hey, let me check. Are you good? Clear? All right. Gotta go. Cool. See you later. Um, I think those are massive changes to put on. One other thing is we're starting to input, and this isn't for everybody, right? But you can say, "Hey Siri, set the alarm for 25 minutes," and now my Siri will come on. But if there you go, there she goes. But if you're really going to focus, put that in. Don't go too far, but go, you can go 20 minutes first, then take 5 minutes off, but you'll start to go 30, 40, 50 minutes into a time block. But if you're going deep into a time block, really going functional, put do not disturb on your phone and go after it. Like if you really can go after it, you accomplish so much more in that 30, 45-minute block, whether it's calling, texting, emailing clients, casting nets, whatever you're doing, just go deep in that and then take the email. But oftentimes people check their CRM updates and they check their email about 45 times. I know because I used to do that. Within 2 minutes, I check my email 15 times, like something new is going to pop up. But I'm more firefighting than actually being a pro.
Huge and big difference, really, because I think it just kind of goes back to being present for that individual moment. What's important now? It's whatever's on my calendar. And let me tell you, saying no was hard for me a lot in life, but then saying no to you, Jordan, that was a whole different bird, man. So thanks for respecting that. But it helps so much, and I think we all can attest to that. And then just one thing, and here's my calendar actually. So this is kind of maniacal, but it's very organized and color coded, so I know exactly what I'm doing at any given moment. And I think everybody knows who Grant Cardone is. People either love him or they hate him, but I think everybody can agree that he's very successful and he's been an entrepreneur all his life. And one thing I heard from him, it was a quote when I finally clicked, was white space is the devil. White space on your calendar is the devil. If you're in production of any sort, any industry, white space can be the devil because that means you're not doing anything productive. Now, it doesn't mean you don't take your time. Like this is an example of my calendar on 4th of July. Now, like, dude, I had a busy ass week that week. So you know what? 4th of July, I've worked many a holidays. I'm taking off, but I blocked it on my calendar. So nothing else was added because I, to myself, earned it that week to be able to say this day is dedicated to myself and my family. But one thing too that Jordan and we talked about at length and which we've implemented here was just you don't have to be a spaz all day. 8 to 12 is really when we do bulk of our work. 8 to 12, 4 hours only. It's better than a 9 to 5, 4 hours only. We have pretty much a regulated day and we can pivot once in a while for the right reasons, as Amber attested to earlier. But 8 to 12, we're getting our prospecting done, we're putting out our fires, we're setting up the most important tasks for the day. And even though my calendar is more recruiting based as opposed to agent based, I still block out most of my admin from 8 to 12. And then the rest of my day, I do whatever I want. And usually I set it with appointments because that's that's the nature of my business. But anything anybody else want to add to that part, how you can really accomplish so much in that 8 to 12 window. It's like, I think that blows people's minds. I think they'd be working 60 hours a week, which we work our butts off still because it's in our DNA. But you can really get the lion's share of your things done that you have to do every day in a small window, and which leaves the rest of the day to generate more, do more money making activities at will. Any thoughts on that from the panel?
So I will say 8 to 12 is powerful, but you better and to piggyback off of Jordan, what you do before 8 o'clock is important. So like how are you getting set? Like working out. I mean, I do the sauna. I'm obsessed with the sauna. I like to get in and melt it out, like get ready for the day or even end my day like that. But, you know, you have to, this is all mental. Everything else can be taught. Nobody can teach that mental, like to get in beast mode. That's something that you have to condition yourself to do. And that is what's going to allow 8 to 12 to be so laser focused and easy. And you're able to get into that routine. What you do in the morning counts. What are you doing to get ready? Everybody wants to elevate and make and have 10, 12 deals, but are you mentally ready to take? Do not cry in the car like me. Before this was a part of my, don't
Everybody
do it.
wants the money.
This is a true story. It sounds good. You want 12 and 14 and 15 contracts until you have them. And then you weren't prepared for what that comes with. So you owe it to yourself to prepare mentally for the day. That is important before you pick up that call at 8 o'clock. You have to get in I call it beast mode. That's what I do. You got to get in beast mode. So Scott, I know you have some
You stole the
extra
game.
gems for
I
sure.
had,
Yeah, I'm just.
oh, go ahead, Scotty. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just listening to it all, enjoying it, and you're absolutely right. And I was thinking, the analogy is, you plant and water from 8 to 12, but then you harvest in the afternoon.
Mhm.
And so it doesn't stop
Yeah.
it. It isn't like, okay, I put in 4 hours, I'm a rock star. No, that's just the beginning, right? But that's the good stuff. The afternoon, or late in the afternoon, meeting with clients, showing homes, doing deals. That's the frosting on that cake that you baked that morning.
Yes. Before I became a top performer, I never understood what Jordan meant by you gotta stay in the command center. He used to say that all the time. And I'm like, oh, please, but now I get it. The command center is that prospecting, the organization, making sure that everything is ready for you to go out into the field.
That control.
Everything that yeah, you have to. The command center is so important. That's when you figure out who's really, a deal, where you need your attention and, who's closing in August, who's closing in September. That's what you find out in the command center. So making sure that you're utilizing that time is so important. So I always say, I'm in my command center. I'm not in the field. I'm in the command center. But it took me forever to realize what he meant by that.
Jordan, do you have a final thought on that before we move to pillar number 3, sir?
Just for agents in general, like be slow to tour, but fast to advise. So what the heck are you touring? Do you even know? Do you even know what it is? Did you research, call a listing agent? Do you know what's going on? Do you know the buyer qualifies? Do you know any of this stuff? So a lot of times people are just tour guides, right? Unpaid tour guides just running, ripping and running. Scott just said, it's like, I'm not just going to run. Like, let me think about it. Do I need to run right now to do it? And like the topic was, how you get 1 to 5 deals, but Amber just said 14 at one time. So 14 active contracts at once is like, it's not a lead problem. Like it's not so much like a certain get this next system. It's actually how you're designed. Like what many agents come on and yeah, I'm not going to do that. Like, okay, well, how's it going with what you're doing now? Not so good. All right. Well, we have a pretty good idea. We have track records that work really well. But what Scott and Amber have done really well and several others is they've just said, hey, if the play works, let me just run this play. And let me get up in the morning, let me do this, let me attack. And we're on Zoom. They're on Zoom. I don't know if they're on today or not on today, but they're always on clockwork, right? But it just works.
Man, nuggets after nuggets. This is amazing. And it's so funny because yeah, you're right. People like get so happy to show somebody, and it's like you go out and you scatter yourself out to this showing that means nothing, where you had 3 or 4 other opportunities that could have passed you by because you left your command center. If it makes sense, make a play, call an audible, but don't just jump and drop everything you're doing, jump in your car. We will learn that, man, for sure. So that's amazing, guys. So awesome. Pillar number 3. Pillar number 3, your power network, building your power network. So anybody that's done business, we always joke about how people come in, oh, I've never had a bad deal. Well, you haven't done enough deals. That's why you've never had a bad deal. Don't act like you're all that. It's so funny, but we humor it. But anybody in the transaction can kill a deal. Listing agent, buyer's agent, lender, title company, inspector. All these people can either make or break you in your business. And I think it's safe to say they're all vital components to getting to that next level. So let's touch on this. are your part, and I think the first question I'm going to ask, and I think all of you guys, we all have a pretty established network in place, but a biggie is, are your partners playing at the level at which you want to play at? And I think, Jordan, correct me if I'm wrong. When we first started, I remember I've been around a long time with you here, and there wasn't even real estate yet. You just had the mortgage business at one point, and if I recall correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but the reason why you wanted to get out of just co-marketing and branding with and partnering with other brokerages and just doing the traditional route that lenders do and partner with agents, nobody was really playing at your level. Am I wrong in saying that? And you're like, screw this, I'm just going to open up my own real estate brokerage so I can control the beast and start building out these systems and platforms.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like we have some awesome partners, right? But it's
Right.
just tough when you're playing ball at a pretty high level, right? And everybody can get better. I can get better, everybody can get better. But if you're playing at a pretty high level and your team, so to say, is not playing at the same level or they don't have the same core values, it's really tough. It gets frustrating. So you have to surround yourself by teammates, whether it's home inspector, lender, title. There's several factors that go into a deal, but you have to surround yourself by people that play like you. And if you're a buyer's agent, you can't pick the listing agent. You got to hold your breath a little bit there. But then you get the listing agent that actually plays like you, and it's the best deal ever, right? So that that helped for me to go back and just attach myself to Jason's, to Scott's, to Amber's. Because if I call them anytime I need it, they're going to pick up the phone. If they call me, I'm going to handle it. We're not going to joke around and like, I'm tired today. I don't feel good. Like, you don't get that. My stomach is sick and I'm feverish today and don't call me till next week. I'll call you back next Thursday. It's like none of that stuff works in this business.
Powerful. I have to say, it's more than, it's not like everybody's perfect, right? So let's make sure we're very clear. It's nobody's perfect, right? But it's like you play at the same level, but you also accept the challenges together when and I think the one part of the culture that we have is there's no finger pointing, there's no blame game. It's like, that's not going to fix anything. That client's still counting on us to get to the keys to the home. We're still counting on our paychecks, right? We got to figure this out. We got to figure it out together and know that we're all in this together and we're going to close together. We're going to make some money together. We're going to put more people in homes together. And that's where all the fun begins. So great stuff there. And Scott and Amber, like what goes into your network? Who are we missing anybody? Like who is it important to have on your side that's going to play at the same level?
I'll let Amber go first. It's like
Okay.
a layup. I'll give you the layup.
I mean, so specifically, obviously, I feel like your lender is the most important part, right? Because all of the other pieces, and when they're all, I mean, they all have vital parts, but I do feel like having the lender partner play at the same level for both reasons. A, volume, right? Because you're not just bringing them one deal a month. That's the goal. Like you want your lender to be able to keep up with the 4, 5, 6 deals that you do intend on, bringing. So the lender is the most important part. And they're also having a lender that communicates with you, because I don't know how many agents are on here, but you guys know how it is to have a lending partner who literally never communicates with you, doesn't answer the phone, doesn't answer emails. Oh, we're clear to close. That, and then the whole the whole transaction, you're literally communicating with your client in the dark. I feel like the lender partner is the most important. But I feel like your lender should be just as intentional as you are. Isn't and that's important. They should not, or to some level, they should not treat your transaction as a number. I know that's weird to say, right? But you're intentional with your client. You realize there is a buyer in a house. I feel like there should be some, form of that on the lender side. Like they should have intention just as much as you do. And of course, your inspector, that's important. We want to make sure that the structure in which you're under contract for is sound for your client. Being able to give your client the reassurance and things like that, but entitled to. But I want to say something, and then I'll be quiet and let Scott go. Every transaction you learn from everyone. I don't care. Nobody here is perfect. We're learning as we go. And so the transparency obviously is there. No one makes mistakes, but if you do, own it and keep it moving. But we have to have the level of professionalism. I think that's where I'm going with it. Like if there is a fire, no matter if it's title, if it's lending, even the agent, making sure that we're learning, we're growing, but we still, hey, there's a buyer on the other side of this. So like while while we're in the class learning, watching film, whatever that is, there's still a buyer that's expecting to close in 2 weeks. So making sure that that is still, the goal at the end of the day. Like, let's learn, let's get through it, and let's get them their keys. So pivotal, but I just feel like the transparency is very important with your partners for sure.
Awesome. Scott.
Yeah, and I agree. How could I not agree? Every team needs a leader, but often the leader isn't right, or at least all the time. So, you have to be humble enough to identify when you make mistakes, get better, learn from those mistakes. And here, it's so unique. We have daily meetings with our lending team to go over pipeline. So I don't know about the rest of the agents on this Zoom, but I mean, how many times have you not even been able to get a hold of your lender for days to find out the status, the true status, not the status where they tell you to get off the phone, but what their organization, their company is giving you an update on Zoom of what the status of the financing is up to that moment right there daily. And then if it gets past that time of day, you can reach out to whomever you're dealing, whoever the lender is, and get that update, because we're all holding each other accountable, right? It isn't they're trying to win my business. They've got my business. We're a team. Same thing with title. Daily updates from title. I could show you right now. I could dial, they pick my phone up on the first ring every time. No voicemail, nothing like that. Our inspectors, I use a couple of them. They're great inspectors, and they understand that team leader right here. It all funnels through me, right? You need to communicate with me. We need to talk about the client's expectations, and then we need to meet those expectations with the inspection, right? Oftentimes the deals are set up to where we're getting certain incentives here, or I've already negotiated this with the seller. That needs to be communicated with the inspector, and then when you put all that together, and you're working as a team, like I said, people make mistakes, but you're going to be a lot more successful, and you have the camaraderie and the experience of working with that person. You know their shortcomings, so you help make up for that, but also at the same time, they know your shortcomings, and so that's what team is about here.
I agree, man. True teamwork, right? Like we hold each other
Absolutely.
accountable. It's out of love, right? When we
Yeah.
work off each other, we pull up each other. The timing is there. You almost finish each other's sentences, and that's powerful to get that. And again, nobody's perfect, but we share our challenges together, and we also share our victories together, and that's what makes it a family in a sense, right? So great
And
stuff.
and
Yeah.
and I'll yeah,
Mhm.
and I'll just caveat and add there, I was talking about the lending, the updates from lending. Something that I mention often is I'll send out an offer to, the listing agent, or Stacy, our transaction coordinator, will send it out, and then I'll follow up, make sure that the listing agent received the offer, if they have any questions, and what's the seller's pulse on the deal. And within minutes of me getting off the phone, my lending partner is following that up with a phone call, right? And reinforcing the strength of our offer, the financing, the goal of the buyer, and then also digging in, what are some of the seller's goals? Things that maybe the listing agent wasn't comfortable disclosing to me, or I didn't see to ask the right question. So I'm getting followed up by my lender, right? I mean, who does that? I
Huge,
don't know.
man.
And they're working with me to get that offer accepted, right?
It's that collective
And
effort.
yeah, I don't know of anybody else that does that. I just don't.
Well, you read my mind because I was going to touch. Like, my next question was going to be like, if you and Amber both could kind of share an example of how your partners either won the deal or saved a deal, so that's a great example, of how that works. And that's powerful stuff, man, because like we're all in this together. So, it's important to have people that are going to have your back like that. It's been amazing. Amber, how about you? Do you have any examples where somebody like wowed you, or they won a deal over, or maybe wowed the client, but as a result of their efforts and went above and beyond? It's a partner of yours, not from your efforts.
And I will piggyback. I'm gonna say this before I answer the question. Scott uses the word, this is a referral. Like I won the trust for the client first. So like these are all, people that I'm referring to my client now that I've gained the trust and they trust me. I got them under contract. And so that's important. But shout out to New World Title. I don't know if you guys have ever used them, but you know, when you work at, high speed, it's important to have the title company that will stay past 5
Huge,
o'clock.
huge.
OMG. So, I mean, they've helped me save, or not save, just help me like see that experience that I expected from my client to the end. This particular transaction that I always remember is, it was a Friday close, which lesson learned, I'll never do that again. I will never close on a Friday because, if something happens, you got the moving truck that they can't move in for the whole weekend, guys. So anyway, prior to that, at this particular instance, New World stayed till 7:30 when my client got off, signed. They were able to get keys the same day instead of it being a horrible weekend for my clients. They didn't get keys, they didn't sign, whatever the case may be. And then we didn't have to wait until Monday. So I always say, you know what, the flexibility is key. Like I know what I'm willing to do for my client, but having the partner on the other side that's just as involved, is just as dedicated to seeing that, come to fruition is important. So shout out New World Fire.
Yes. And to circle back, that's if you have the right team, then that gives you the time to build more business,
Yes.
right? If everybody's the weak link and you're dragging the deal through, you're not going to have time to focus on creating new business. What happens is you get bogged down on one or two transactions at a time. Then
Yeah.
those close, and then you don't have anything for the following month. And then you're in a panic mode. And then what happens is you break out of the proven systems, right? Because you're desperate. Right. But if you rely on your team, right, everybody is in sync. We're getting the deals across the finish line. They're closing, and your time blocking where you're focused on creating new business, and you just follow the proven steps, then it's natural. It's one after another clicks. But if you try to do it your own way, or if your team, or if you're the weak link maybe in the team, or whatever the case may be, if you're not all rowing in the same speed, the same direction, it's gonna be peaks and valleys. And I see it all the time.
Amen.
Good old roller coaster ride that we like to be on.
The real estate roller coaster. It's
The real
unavoidable.
estate roller coaster, the gift that keeps on giving.
Well, we have one more pillar to cover. Jordan, any final thoughts on the building your power network?
I think I think you're drawn to the other people. So if you had a really good deal and you were dealing with XYZ company, but a person at that company is good, if they have the same, this is just in general, if they have the same work ethic as you, then that tells you something. They may not have as much experience, but we've had agents that they were going crazy over a mobile home at 88,000, wouldn't stop calling and texting, like, what are you doing? Like, if you work that hard on this deal, like, yeah, I'm just all day, like, holy cow, if we put the right deals in front of you, and that's what we tend to look for, right? So we look for agents in general. We'll see them like, my God, you're in a transaction, you're doing phenomenal. You just don't have the right marketing, you don't have the right systems in front of you, or the right mentoring and coaching. So if we put that, you turn into beast mode. Scott, one thing is Scott is known for the driveway merge. Amber just had a situation where she did a great job. She fired back to preferred lender immediately because the ball was dropped. Can you guys just, I know we're pressed on time. Can you guys just chat about that real fast? Because those were great jobs on both of you.
You want me to go, Amber? Yeah, absolutely. So, it's not hard, but oftentimes I feel like I don't do the best job of building rapport on the phone. I'm pretty chatty, but I know when I get in front of a client at a home that I'm money, right? Everything changes,
Yeah.
and my presentation, my person, everything. And so what I do following, and this is a little nugget, you guys might want to write this down, is when I finish a tour, before I even talk about offer, I ask my clients if I did a good job, right? And so then I have them, they're that positive mindset, they're buying into me, right? And then that's when I start talking about the home and what it takes to buy the home, right? And it's the same story. It's just different characters in that same story, right? From start to finish, it's the same. It's the same. They're just a different person, different address, different price point, different needs, right? And so once I explain that story to them, and I feel 100% in this, the first step is to make sure that you can afford the home, right? Why are we looking at 400 if you can only afford 350, right? Why are we looking at one that only accepts conventional if this one is or you qualify for FHAs? It's different types. So let me do this. Let me get my preferred lender. This is that referral that Amber was speaking about. Let me get Kevin on the phone. Kevin's going to go over this with you, and then we're going to get started on the right first step right here. Hold on one second. And then what I do is I get the lender on the phone, put them on my cell or call them right in front of me and say, okay, hey, Kevin, I'm out here with so-and-so. They're like this house. This is what our thoughts are. Can you help them out with this? And I'm really good at that. And I think I'm the best at it, actually.
And your partner, if they're playing at the level that you're playing, they're going to come in right and you don't have to, once you team up, let them do their thing. Right. They're
I've
just going to
already
come in and
texted
do
them
their
the
job.
address. I've already prepped them before the tour.
Yep.
And,
Money.
and they have the client information, the property address, and yeah, it's a smooth transition to them. But and I'll caveat before I let Amber start talking. Once I meet with that client, they want my team. They don't even know who the hell my team is, right? But they want to keep everything. I tell them, when I'm telling that story, look, we're going to get inspections. I'm going to send you 2 or 3. You can pick whoever you want. No, I want to use yours. Who's yours, right? Title company, say, no, we want to stick with your title company. Okay, let me get my lender on the phone. Once I meet with them, they bought my team.
Control. You said it earlier.
Absolutely. Okay, Amber.
Money. Nugget alert.
Yeah, it starts with you though, like they have to trust that you can get them to the finish line. So that rapport is, so important. And being intentional. I say that all the time. If you're intentional, your client will know and everything else will flow. But I always ask questions and I kind of know the answer to the questions, but it's good for them to hear it. Like, hey, I talked to you 2 days ago. Did you get your pre-approval from your other lender? And they're like, no. Ooh. It shouldn't take 2 days, it should only take a few minutes. 1 second. Let me get my partner on the line. It's not, you want me to? No, I'm not going to ask permission to guide and advise. That's why you're sitting in front of
Ooh.
me,
Nugget
right?
alert
Never ask
again.
for permission to
Never
help you.
ask. You just
Absolutely not.
do.
No.
Control.
I'm going to show you how
So
it's done.
powerful.
Sit back and take notes and watch how easy this feels. It's not supposed to be difficult. Nothing about buying a home when you're being advised correctly is difficult. It's only horror stories when you don't have the right resources set in front of you. So hold on 1 second. It's we're gonna be put on a stage and watch us perform, and at the end you go, bravo, bravo. Now give me my keys. That's how it's supposed to feel.
I know it
So
went long, but this
I
is
want to make a
money.
point on what you said. You've been somewhere 100 times and you have a new passenger. Are you going to allow them to navigate?
absolutely not. Put your seatbelt on.
Nugget alert again. Holy cow, you guys.
Put it on.
Put it on.
If you want to look for some landmarks in case you want to do this again, that's cool. We
And
can
ask
talk about it
questions. Yeah, absolutely.
later.
But I've been
That's
there
fine.
100 times and I know every rest area, right? I know where to get gas. I know where the Starbucks is. I know the
Eyes
path
closed.
because I'm not figuring this out with you.
Well,
No.
this is going to lead right into our final thought because this is like you guys are just hitting it with the nuggets, man. I mean, it's so powerful. Everybody in the beginning is like they're asking permission for this. Can you mind if I do this with you? You mind if I do that? It's always going to be a no. And you guys just say you don't have a choice. You're with me for a reason, but you guys, the final pillar, mindset and personal development, you guys exude confidence in what you do. And the people don't even think twice about following your lead because they feel so comfortable around you because you've done it 100 times. And even if you haven't done it 100 times, you have to act like you have until we get you there, right? So let's touch on this. We got a few minutes left. We might go a couple minutes over, but I think it's worth it. I think you guys are bringing the absolute heat. So it's fantastic to be part of this today. But the hunger, the commitment, the why behind top producers, like the mindset piece, I think is where so many people can fail because it's not easy. It's probably the hardest part of it all, right? But it starts with just like Jordan even mentioned earlier, just doing that hard stuff early. Get that hard stuff out of the way, and the rest of your day is easy. But like I think the ultimate driver though has to be that why. And Amber, you touched it a little bit. You said I don't have a plan B. And not that you guys have to share your whys, but how important is that why to keep your motor running at the level at which it does? And this is for everybody to talk about. Any takers? Come on.
I'm just, yeah, I'll lean in, right? So, and you've heard me say it before. I, j- I, it's not a why, but I guess you could call it a why. I really enjoy helping people, families purchase a home, especially if it's the first home. It's so much fun for me. I used to think, it's like I was saying earlier when this first started out, oh, they want this and they want that. It's going to be such a pain in the ass. But I really, with my experience, I really enjoy guiding them through the process. And I believe that I am the very best at it. So every day I challenge myself with those two, the enjoyment of it and being the best at it. That's why I do it.
I love it, man. I mean but that is a why. It's a driver, and
It
and
is.
if
It drives 100%. That's why
it's what keeps your motor
yeah.
running. I mean, you have to have that. And Jordan, if you don't mind me asking you, like Alex, I always use an example. It's like people, you're a guy that has a lot of choices in life now. You don't have to do what you do every single day, but you're here every single day almost grinding and running from and literally in the trenches, making phone calls with the team and advising and coaching and running multiple businesses. How the hell do you do it every day? I mean, there's got to be something like, if you could just touch on the why piece.
I like watching people succeed and hit their whys. That's exciting for me. Like everybody can make money, and then you have money, and then you end up, when you make a lot of it, you give it away, right? Or you buy things that you probably don't need. But when you see somebody on the team or a client buy a home and they're crying, like there's no feeling that can replace that. Like, well, I had a great commission check. You're not going to replace that feeling of helping somebody and say, because of Scott, because of Amber, I wanted to buy a home for 50 years and I couldn't, and no one's ever owned a home. Like that hits home. Like the clients come to
So
you in tears,
powerful.
like you can't top that. Having somebody on your team, right? And they're hitting their life goals and they're doing things, they're buying a house, they're helping family, like they have a sick family and they're helping them get through it, like things like that. And they tell you the story and like that's irreplaceable.
Great stuff, Amber.
I think I said it earlier, I love what I'm doing. I I do enjoy it. It's I think I'm a natural nurturer. So this is like me on my stage, like my natural stage, and you get what I'm saying? Like anybody to know Amber is to know Amber, right? But I'm naturally a nurturer, and I want to help everyone to a fault at sometimes, right? But at least in this, I get a small compensation for my time and my efforts. But I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Like even if I had a choice to have a plan B, I wouldn't, like I'm all in on this. It wasn't a walk in the park to get me here mentally, but it's all I have now. So, yeah, I mean, and let me say this is so off topic, but I'm gonna go ahead and ramble this. If you think that you're gonna scale without a team around you, you're insane. This is not a one-man show. And that's on every sense of the word, like your partners, your peers, I mean, your coach, because everybody needs a coach. I say that all the time. You have to have somebody that's talking you off the ledge. But if you think that you're going to scale without somebody coaching and developing you and without people pouring into you, you are wrong. This is not, you cannot do this by yourself. And if you think you can, that's probably why you are where you are. And I'm not saying that to be bad, but scaling is what I'm saying. Like you probably are here, real consistent, but to scale from where you are now, you have to have a team around you.
Well, I think
But
you're
that's the
100%
biggest
right.
part of the mindset shift. I feel like it takes you. Like I was that. I'm doing everything me, 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 me. It's all about me. It's the Amber show. Like what the girl, let that go.
You have to let
Then
it
you will
go.
see how things are supposed to look and feel in business, at least in real estate.
Well, it's funny because people stand out like a sore thumb that come in that think they know it all. They're too cool for school. Like I always say, if you, whether you're consciously or unconsciously, every day you're getting better or you're getting a little worse. And if you think you know it all, if you can get it all figured out, you're regressing. You're going backwards. I don't care
Right.
if you think you are or you're not. So it's like you will never scale, and you wonder why you never grow personally or professionally, right? But do you guys? I mean, I know, and we'll leave this, maybe wrap up with this piece on the final pillar. But like, we all have plateaus. We all hit times where we don't want to go show a house or make a phone call or handle this conversation. How do you guys consistently keep a mindset that doesn't allow you to fall back into that trap? Any routines or practices? Or I know we touched again a little bit on the
I
meditations
got
and
one, Jason.
oh, fire away. Here we go.
It's you have to have the same disciplines daily. You have to do the same thing. And I understand a Saturday or Sunday sleep, and I get it. But if it's Monday through Friday, you have to have the same disciplines. The other part is work on not having any talk like, "Ah, I'm so dumb. Oh, I should have done better." Like positive mindset. Don't talk about yourself negatively. Like do it. Everybody jokes around. They can, but stop doing that, especially in the morning. Like say good things. Like Scott is very confident, right? Extremely confident. Amber's very confident. They'll let you know, right? Scott will let you know all the time. Trust me. He tells me all the time. But it's a good thing, right? He believes in himself. He's like, no, nobody's better than me. I'm going to be the greatest. But then look at athletes that win championships. They don't say that anybody's better than them, right? You have to have that
You
mindset.
can't, right?
But don't talk negative, especially in the morning. Like, no bad news. Just get in there, attack. Everything's positive. The bad's going to come, but if you start really good, then you can actually chip away at the negative.
I've adopted being the cheerleader consistently. Like I am always positive no matter what, you know. I mean, it's positive in every situation. Let's think about it. And whether or not you choose to look at it in a negative light, that's mindset in itself. But yeah, you just gotta palm it out. It's okay, like that's what I do.
Yeah, for
I
me,
think, go ahead.
part of, like Jordan was saying, um, that drives me to prove it to myself. It's really, I'm not trying to prove it to any of you. I'm proving it to myself. It's not that I doubt it, it's I say it, therefore I committed to doing it, every
Huge.
day. And so when there are whenever there's a challenge, that's the first thing I do. Right. I don't think if it's a hard phone call, I'm picking up the phone call right now. It's not, I don't think about it. I don't, okay, maybe it's Friday, let's do that on Monday or whatever. It's a tour that, I'm laying in bed and I know that I'm getting up early because I know I got a tour, because I know I don't want to. But that's the game I play with myself to overcome those.
Huge.
I mean, you asked, that's what I do.
No, that's great.
Everything's a challenge. Yeah. And I'm going to knock it out.
You're
Right.
holding yourself accountable, and the gamer's
Right.
betting on
And
yourself in a
and
sense,
and
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 you
and
make
what I
yourself have to
do,
do it.
yeah, and I think it was Tony Robbins or one of those knuckleheads with that they use that, and Amber's kind of alluded to that where there's no plan B. I don't have any boats. I burned every boat, so there's no retreat. I'm on the island. I'm taking the island. That's it.
No
So
plan B.
yeah, there's no, I can't back up.
Oh,
And Jordan, that consistency, that the daily disciplines, that's powerful because it's just you create the habits, the good habits, right? Because you're going to create a bad one or a good one. Pick one that's going to be more productive for yourself. So that's fantastic stuff. And we'll open floor. So anybody out there that's an attendee world, feel free to fire some questions for the group into the chats if you have any. We have a couple. We're just going to wrap up with some final thoughts here, but thanks everybody for attending. But yeah, questions fire away. We'll definitely address them. um Recap of the four pillars. So we have our daily prospecting. If you can make this stuff habit every day at a high level and find yourself a team that's going to help you get there if you're not already, but daily prospecting is number one. Number two, time blocking and owning your calendar. Number three, building a powerful network to surround yourself with great people that are going to play at the level that you play. And number four is just that mindset and personal growth. Are you getting better every day? It's not going to be monumental, but there's little micro improvements. The book Atomic Habits will teach you that. Also, the book Power of Consistency, two good ones. So any final thoughts? Does anybody want to wrap up with any final closing statements regarding the 4 pillars? I know you guys gave a lot already, so you don't even have to
I'll
if you don't
say
want to, but
this, get excited and get comfortable with failing forward. That's what I will say. And if you start there, my God, you'll be great.
I like it. Failing forward. It's
Yeah,
okay. It's
get
okay.
excited about it.
Take the action. All right. Anybody else? Well, I want to recap then. We have our Lightning Mastermind Series here. It's a webinar series, 3 parts. Today was part number 1. Next one, September 18th, how to create an offer package to win in multiple offer situations. Third one is November 13th, Vreeland All-Star Panel again. You'll probably see some familiar faces there. Our top producers are going to reveal secrets to thriving in 2026, which is crazy to say. Isn't that far away? And we're going to be ahead of that curve so we all can succeed then. And you can, you got to register. You can scan the QR code. The link is in the chats as well. And the final event, an in-person event in Amalie Arena. We're going to have a lightning, tickets to the lightning game for you guys. We're going to have food. We're going to have a networking. You can pick the brains of everybody you're talking to and hearing from in the panel, and also network all the amazing people that are going to be there. Really all I have. Anybody else want to throw anything in there before we wrap up? You guys can book a strategy session out there as well. You can scan this different QR code. The last QR code will take you to our our events page where it's going to show you where you can register to the different events. You have to attend all 3 webinars to be able to make it to the Amalie Arena event that we're going to, be on the house from Vreeland Real Estate. Here you can book a session with one of us. If you just want to powwow, talk shop, talk about your business, what you can do to get to the next level, we're always happy to give you some nuggets. We look forward to doing that type of stuff. That's all I have. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for joining.